Yeah, so this layout, I'm thinking we can use Flexbox to accomplish this layout and then use React to pull in all the different data sources and
Okay.
then implement this interaction where when you click on the color, it filters all the data in all the charts. So this is our goal. Um, let's start towards this.
Okay.
And so, great. We've got this thing that's working with React. And I believe, did you add me as a collaborator here?
I did, yes.
Nice. So I can edit and you can edit. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is maybe first, um, let's make it so that the index file just sets up the grid with Flexbox.
Okay.
And we've got this React boilerplate here. So I'm looking through here and I'm thinking, what do we want to preserve versus what should we get rid of? And I'm thinking we can preserve this data. So the app is loading in some data. So we can preserve that and expand use data such that it fetches multiple data sources. And also the hovered value is something that we're going to want to keep. So when you hover, it does filter already, or rather it highlights. Um, so we can keep those things, and I'm just going to gut it and remove everything else for
And I
now.
may change that from hover to click later. I'm not
Right,
quite sure what would be better for this.
right. So we can cross that bridge when we get there. But anyway, I'm just going to delete all this stuff that we don't need right now and focus on the layout. So that title, where's that title coming from, actually? Is it
That was
index.html?
in yes.
Yeah, that's right in there in the HTML. I think I'll get rid of that too, just so we have a sort of a clean slate. So for this app, let's return a div. And then what I want to do is use Flexbox to make this div fill the entire page to start with. So for that, we can say class name is something, and then we can use CSS to style it. So that name, maybe we can call it, I don't know, container, viz container, dashboard container, something like that.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Um, viz container. And then I think we've got already some CSS here for styling that one visualization. So the viz container, I wanted to fill the screen. And one trick that I always use for this is position fixed, top 0, right 0, bottom 0, and then left 0. And then in order to see what it is, just temporarily, we can say background is red. And sure enough, it fills up the whole screen. Okay, great. So now that we've got that, we can start using Flexbox by saying display flex like this. This sort of enables and turns on Flexbox. And then in here, we can introduce some children in here. And we really want two, one on the top and one on the bottom. So we can say class name is top and bottom. And then what we want to do is have one on the top and one on the bottom. So top and bottom. I want to be able to see them. So let's say background is red for one, and let's say green for the other. So it's not working. And I think we need to set flex to be 1 on both of these to say grow, like make it grow to fill the space. Oh, that's a typo on the red one. So it's going from left to right now. But what we really wanted to do is go top to bottom. And I can never remember all the Flexbox commands. So if you just search for Flexbox, you come across a complete guide to Flexbox, which is my go-to reference. A lot of people's go-to reference for Flexbox. So we've got flex direction, which controls whether it's up or down or left to right. So we can say flex direction is row. That's what it is by default. But if we change this to column, it goes from top to bottom, like that. I think we need that flex 1. Yeah, we do. Flex
So what
1.
is the... Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what is the flex 1 there
Yeah,
mean?
flex 1, it's kind of a cryptic expression. It's really setting flex grow. So flex grow, it says, it defines the ability for a flex item to grow if necessary. If flex grow is set to 1, the remaining space in the container will be distributed equally to all children. This is what we're doing using a shorthand. So the flex shorthand is a way to set flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis all at the same time. And so if you say flex :1, what it's doing is saying set flex grow to be 1.
Okay.
And so the same, we could do the same thing by saying flex dash grow is 1. It's actually more clear now that I think of it like this. Yeah, either way.
Cool.
Maybe I'll keep it like this because this is more clear. And also, I don't know, just to make the CSS more specific, we can do it like this because we're like just talking about children of this container here.
Okay.
And then what we want to do is on the top have 3 divisions and on the bottom have also 3 divisions, but the one in the middle should be a fixed width.
Right.
And this is where we can start introducing perhaps components for the different visualization elements that you've got. Yeah, let's do it like that. So could you show me again the mock-up?
Sure. I can share my screen real quick.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen. I have to stop.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, so the one on the top left is called, we could call it stacked bar.
Yeah, that would work.
And then the one in the middle, we can call it
Map.
And the one on the right, we can call it bar chart.
Yeah, simple bar, something like that. Oh,
Yeah,
let
simple.
me stop sharing if you want to.
No, it's good that you're sharing because I'm sort of noting down what we're going to call these things.
Gotcha.
Simple bars. And while we're at it, let's figure out names for the bottom one. So the
Yeah.
bottom left would be scatterplot.
Right.
Color legend.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's a scatterplot too.
Yeah. But it does have a discrete x-axis.
Right.
I mean, technically the other one does too, but
So we could call it something very specific like car maker finishes.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I'll go back to sharing my screen. And so I've just sort of pasted those here. And so we could use React components to say stacked bar map simple bars. And then on the bottom, we'll want to have scatter plot, color legend, and car maker finishes. And eventually, probably what you'd want to do is have different directories for each one of these, because I think each one of these has a bunch of files associated with it.
Right.
And so we can sort of start that off and say stacked bar slash index.js. And we can make a component that returns a div. And we can give it a class name of stacked bar. And I will set up a template that you can sort of take and run with for these.
Perfect.
And so why don't I just do that whole thing with the React refs, because this is how you can get access to the DOM elements to do whatever DOM manipulation you need to with whether it's D3 directly or Vega Lite or anything else. So you can import use ref from React and then say make a new ref, just call it ref, and then ref equals ref here. And then you can use a use effect hook and we have to import that as well. And what this will do is this will rerun this side effect every time any of the dependencies change. So I could imagine in the future you're going to want to have like data and maybe just data. Maybe just data actually. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. When any of the dependencies change, this function will run. Right, as it stands, it'll just run once. But this is where you can say ref.current, and this gives you a DOM element that you can then manipulate in here. So I'll just leave it like this for you to sort of fill in later with the actual content.
Cool. And so it would be the same structure in each of the other subfiles?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I
Okay.
wanted to set this up here, because I'm going to do a big copy-paste job where I'll sort of do this for the various components. So we got stacked bar, same thing for map slash index.js. I'll do the same thing, but rename this to be map and put the class to be map. And the same for simple bars. I'll rename that to be simple bars. Class is simple bars. And then scatter plot. Same thing. And what else? Color legend. Actually, you already have that color legend here.
Right.
Oh, but this is kind of problematic because we're in the universe of divs, but this one lives in the universe of SVG. So I'll just do the same pattern anyway, because you're going to have to modify this to create an SVG and then put these group elements inside of it.
Okay.
And if it's done with React, by the way, you're not going to need use effect. This is only if you're not using React for the DOM manipulation.
Okay.
And then last one is carmaker finishes / index.js. So I'll just change the export name and the class name. Carmaker finishes. And then we have to just import all of these.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do this efficiently. We want to import all of these from their corresponding files. So we can say import stacked bar from / stacked bar. I think that will resolve to stacked bar / index.
Okay.
But if not, we might have to add / index.js. It depends on what module bundler you're using, and VisHub is using rollup internally, so I don't know. We'll see if it works. There we go. Great. So we got an error. It says stacked bar does not exist in the hypothetical file system. All right, we might need to add / index. Yeah, we do.
Okay.
That's all right. It's not part of the ES6 standard, that's why. Okay, so we've got everything here. That's great. Now, let's get the layout right. I feel like it's pretty close, and that's probably where we'll end up at the end of this today.
Perfect.
So what we need to do is change the CSS so that we can see these things. And I think we called one of these, well, let's just go through them one by one. Stacked bar. Actually, I'm going to copy all these just for reference.
Okay.
Because we want to style each of these. Stacked bar. Let's give this one actually the background color. And then the map. Same thing. Now these are not going to do anything. Oh, because the parent containers need to be display flex as well. So the top needs to be display flex, and so does the bottom, for the Flexbox layout to work within these containers. And then the children need to have flex grow set to 1. So stacked bar map. See, it worked.
Perfect.
And then same thing for simple bars. Let's give that a different color just so you can see it. All right. And now for the part that would have been tricky with the CSS grid, we do the same for the others. Scatter plot Let's make it purple. Color legend. Make it something else. Cyan. And car maker finishes. Make that magenta. Okay, so we've got this grid layout. Now let's make it similar to the one that you want by making the color legend of fixed width. And we can do that by, instead of saying flex grow is 1, we can set the width to be 200 pixels. And now it's just exactly what you were going for.
Perfect. Wow. Okay.
Awesome. And so from here on out, you can just fill in all these components, but first this use data thing can be made to fetch multiple CSV files. I think this might be somewhat of a challenge. The way that you can solve it is by using promise.all to fetch multiple files. Promise.all accepts as input an array of promises. So that could be like CSV URL 1, row 1, and you can name them, more reasonably. But you can fetch, like, say, 3 different CSV files.
Yeah, I believe it, funny enough, is 3 in my case.
Oh, perfect.
So I would just use the same construct that we have here for importing it 3 different times and just name them differently.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you get the results, it's going to be like in this form, data 1, data 2, data 3, and then you can call set data with, I don't know, however you want to structure it. Probably it would be an object with 3 different properties, something like this.
Okay.
And of course using like more reasonable names. But this is the overall structure of how to load multiple data files and then pass them all down. And you might not want to call it data, like data sets or something like that. But what it does is it executes all 3 of these network requests in parallel and waits for all of them to come back and finish, and then executes this callback here with all of them. And so a common pattern is, I think it's in here somewhere, like if the data hasn't been loaded yet, you might not want to invoke any of your visualizations because it would break with no data, right?
Right.
So you can have a loading indicator, like loading ... And so it would short circuit to this until the data is actually loaded, and then you could pass in your data like this down into your components.
Okay. And those, of course, would be named different things depending.
Right. I mean, probably it would be like datasets dot, data 1 or whatever, however you end up naming it.
Okay. So that would be. So then that would be the ref. Okay, I got you on there. Okay.
And then for the interaction state, and this is the final piece.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you had it here, Harvard value. You would want to filter the data and say something like filtered data equals, and this is where you could use memoization or memoization. Use a memo. This will compute some derived value based on some state, which would be um, data sets and hovered value. And this would be, well, you would want to filter all of them. Actually. So it would be something like it would return a bunch of data sets like filter data1 equals data1 dot filter, and this is the place where you could execute that filter, like d at something equals hovered value. Something like this.
Okay.
And then you would pass in the filtered data sets here to your components.
Okay, and then they would just get the filtered.
That's right. All they would know about is the filtered data, and they don't even need to know the fact that it has been filtered. Like, they're totally agnostic about that.
Right. And so then if the data is not filtered, it still would it would go.
Right. I mean, that's where you probably want to implement something like, if there is a hovered value, then filter it. Otherwise, just use the entire data set. And that's what this logic might look like.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a common pattern actually with the interactions. If you don't select anything, show everything. But if you do, and so that's this case here, if you do select something, filter based on some field matching that particular value.
And so in this case, the particular value would be the name of the track, because that would be the what gets filtered.
Right.
Is that okay? All right.
And so you might want to have that like in a variable somewhere. I mean, I don't know what the actual field is, but you could access it a number of different ways.
Okay. And then the value that it equals would be the string?
Right.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right.
So that's, broad strokes, the approach that you can take. I fear that I have broken it. It doesn't even show the cool layout that we got. Oh yeah, I should just comment out this stuff here. But that's the general idea for the approach. I want to leave you with something that's not broken. Yeah, I'll just comment out this stuff because it's all fake.
Okay.
Oh, data sets is not defined. Right.
Okay.
Come on, come back. Where's that grid? Filtered data sets is not defined. I'll leave this here commented out so you can see it.
Gotcha.
Okay. There you go. So, happy hacking and good luck.
All right, thank you very much. That this is really going to put me in the right direction with all of this.
Nice.
I tried, like I said, to look online for some resources, and it seems like I have a very specific thing that I'm going for. So
yeah, it's great to have that vision. And a lot of students have asked me these exact same questions. How do you put multiple things on the screen, and how do you load multiple data sets at the same time? So
right.
I'm happy to address it, and hopefully others can benefit from this session as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm happy to have that go up as a video if other people can use
Fantastic.
it. Fantastic. So,
Awesome.
All right. So that should be good. And so I would just use that same import construct in each of the files.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.